Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno's Best Comics of the Week, and this is a show where I review all the comics I've read this week in one show. We go least favorite to best pick of the week and everything in between. And before I get started, we do talk about the viewer's pick of the week at the end of the episode, so in the comments below, let me know your pick of the week for a chance to be featured on the episode. Now, I'm grabbing my comics here. There was such a small haul. It was only 8 books this week. So number 8 for me is, believe it or not, Batman, issue 157. Now, this is the topic of the video too. Where is Batman going after this? This is the end of Chip Zdarsky's run. For me personally, I think it had a lot of promise, but then prolonged its failsafe story. And then after failsafe, I think there was editorial stuff, just shifting guards that I just felt like it lost a lot of focus. And then obviously this big event, the Hush 2 events happening with Loeb and Jim Lee returning. So we're like, oh, we got this big event, which is going to be part of the flagship. But that's going to probably be just an arc. Who's going to be the next writer? And what does that mean for the future of Batman? And this issue in particular felt like that. It felt like, okay, we got to put everything back in the sandbox. Those little things we were doing with Jim Gordon and the brother stuff, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. And I want to see Batman have big moments. I think that's why I've been enjoying stuff like Absolute Batman, where things feel like it's moving and you're allowed to challenge the character because of it and build that mythos. And I always say that I love seeing the Bat family, and I feel like every series kind of starts with it and then like says, nah, let's not do that anymore. Like Tim Drake was a big part of this beginning run, and then he kind of disappears throughout the series. I just want to see good character growth and more mythology building, and I'm curious to see who is going to end up taking over Batman. I think it'd be kind of interesting if it's Tom Taylor, because I think he's been doing such a good job with Detective. Obviously, if he's doing Detective, I don't know if he'd do both, but I feel like that's something I would really like to see. And obviously, I think the artwork has been pretty solid for it. I think if they do keep Jorge Jimenez, that'd be cool. Obviously, I do also want a new look and a new tone to this series, but I really hope they reinvent themselves. So that is number 8 for me. Moving on to number 7, which is Powerman Timeless issue 1. I have not been following this event. I really only picked it up because this literally was the only Marvel book that I was picking up this week. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, so I wouldn't say I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I'm not a big enough Star Wars fan to jump into the comics again. I feel like there's just been a lot going on in that, so I didn't pick up Darth Vader, and there just was a lot of books that I don't currently read with Marvel that came out this week, and there wasn't really a lot of books in general that came out, so I was like, let me try out Powerman. It was fine. It was just kind of there for me. I think maybe if you've been following this timeline, maybe you'll enjoy it more. I like a little bit of an emotional pull with Danny's death, but it's cosmic Luke Cage, and honestly, it's a cool contrast, but when I see Luke Cage, especially if I'm not getting Luke Cage on a monthly basis, I just kind of want to see grounded Luke Cage, because that's how the character kind of ticks. So giving that one 2.5 stars. The artwork was okay for it, and that is number 7. Moving on to number 6 already. We're up to Batgirl issue 4. This one I felt like slowed down a little bit. It felt like the same thing that we've kind of already been seeing with the book. It's like, okay, the relationship between her and her mom. I like the ending though. I like where Cassandra's always asking, what would Dad do? What would Batman do? And then she's like, all right, what would my mom do? And I think that could maybe bring an interesting element in the next issue. But for now, this was kind of point A, point B, things we've already been seeing with the character. So giving that one 3 stars, and that is number 6. Moving on to number 5. I don't know if this came out last week or this week because Diamond is all over the place, but right before Black issue 4, this is how I was able to read it. It seemed like it came out this week for me. I like this book. I just kind of like the characters. I don't know if the plot is really driving me, but I like their interactions. I like learning more about their family and their history. We get to see them have to team up again to go up against these guys that are attacking them. Art's good. It's just kind of a fun book, especially a book when there's not a lot of stuff coming out. I think it's a good way to kind of puff out the pull list a little bit. So that is number 5. And that's 3.5 stars. Moving on to number 4, and that is Shazam issue 20. So I would actually say if you're a Superboy, Super Sons fan, this is more for you. I enjoyed it because it was kind of a commentary on everybody who hasn't liked the idea that John became an adult, and it's the idea of him growing up, figuring out his relationship with Jay, but then also getting to see that Super Sons moment from him being a kid. I do think the artwork was a little scratchier than I would want, but I think it fit for this like childlike wonder storyline. But it's not really a Shazam issue. It really is more of a John issue. But he is a cool guest star, and I think if you like the Super Sons, you'll enjoy this one. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 4. Moving on to number 3, which is Birds of Prey issue 18. I feel like this book is finally finding its groove. Finally getting to see the cast kind of having fun and doing stuff with each other. Black Canary hanging out with Sin since it's been a long time. Batgirl playing video games. Cassandra Cain playing video games. Good art. I really thought this art style fit very well. Again, I like that it's finding its groove, and then you get characters like Constantine join the club, you know, a fan favorite. So I thought this one really worked. Giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is Snotgirl, issue 18. I like this issue. I felt like this was really building those blocks to, honestly, I think we're getting to the finale soon, it feels like, which makes sense. We had a very big gap between, so they're probably rolling out to the finale. But we're finally learning a little bit more about Caroline and her brother and where they kind of come from. But also we have a lot of family dynamics with Snotty Lottie and where her family comes from, which it seems like her mom was like a J-pop star. And I like the interactions between everybody in that regard, and I'm excited to see where this is gonna go for Snotty, for Lottie. I don't know if she'll ever be a fully aware person. I don't know if she's gonna learn, but I think she's gonna have to at some point, and I'm curious to see where that's gonna take us. I just love this cast, I love the feel of this book, and I love every issue. It just moves really well, and you just kind of get sucked into the story. So giving that one 4 stars, and that is number 2. Moving on to number 1 already, and that is Absolute Superman issue 4. I just thought this one really grew the storyline really well. I love the focus on Lois here. For being fascinated by the ethical stance of Superman, where he is so powerful he does not kill people. And then you kind of realizing, and Lois maybe realizing, that she's not working for the best people. And you have like Jimmy involved in that as well, kind of works on the opposite side, and then this masked person that we don't know who she is, and I'm sure there'll be a nice surprise on that side, who's also kind of working for this like Star Wars resistance rebels situation that it feels really cool. And then yeah, you do get to see this relationship between Lois and her dad. There's just a lot of like meat in this issue that helps grow the characters, even just outside of Superman, but also helps Superman kind of be more of this mysterious guy that we're trying to learn about. Artwork was really good. I just really was sold on this issue, and I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I hope every issue continues to be something like this and kind of just expand its cast. That's my pick of the week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite book was, and last week it was Star Wars, and here are some comments about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.